Salar Ansari, welcome to Electronic Music Live. How are you?
Hi, James Locksmith. I'm good. It's Monday, 7:13. I usually take Mondays off because the studio I work at is very quiet on Sundays. So I like to work on Sundays. Okay. And this is technically my Sunday. It's good. We're in like a transition time between summer and a dark winter that's about to come in Michigan. So the weather is not hot and it's still sunny. So it's nice.
Okay. Salah, why don't you tell the listeners a little bit about who you are and what you're up to? What's happening right now?
So
give us an intro.
I'm not the best at this, but let's try. I am an Iranian individual who fell in love with dance music at the age of 16 and has been chasing it ever since. That would be 2006. I started my journey as a DJ, and I slowly learned about making beats through the software Reason by Propeller Heads. And I think it was at the age of 19 where my father told me that I cannot pursue DJing without any sort of education behind it. It made sense. In Iran, there was no, we're talking about Iran post the Islamic Revolution. So there is no scene for an entertainment and music, especially anything that has a Western influence. So he insisted that I should pursue education. And Dubai was the best option. Being in Iran, it was close. And my dad had been there before, so he was familiar with the area and the region. And I had a friend who was studying there at that time, who was pretty much the only person I knew at that time who was Iranian and was accessible, who was playing non-commercial or non-mainstream dance music. Because it was something I had just discovered at that time. I remember my aunt was the first person in my circle who had a high-speed internet connection. And I discovered the website Beatport, and I downloaded music that I could go through for the first time. It wasn't through MTV, TV, media, what the neighbors said, what Ellie's cousin brought from the other side or so. And then when I took it to some people, they were telling me that nobody's going to dance to this. This is too dark. And during that time, I met Siamak, who was the first person who was like, no, this music is okay. You're fine. Just keep digging. So I moved to Dubai, long story short. And I started studying audio engineering. My dad really wanted me to become an engineer. And it's, a lot of people from my region, and also, it's a brown people thing somehow. I don't know. But
throw the title at the end, right? The word engineer's got to be in there.
yeah. It's kind of ridiculous. But long story short, I started this journey of music production beyond bedroom studios, and I was always good at equipment from all my childhood, and I was curious, so I started fiddling with these knobs. And we had a really good teacher at that time who had industry experience, Andy Ward, and Andy had engineered Fateless and Dido and a bunch of other successful projects, and he basically taught me a lot during that time about the engineering manner and the industry and all, which I'll tell you eventually will come to play for my life in Detroit. But I finished that school, but I didn't really pursue any career in engineering at that time. But me, my brother, and my friend Siamak, we all were graduated from the same school, and we all had an understanding and passion of sound quality while being DJs. So the triangle eventually decided that we need a night that sounds good and the music is quality in Dubai, which was the birth of Analog Room.
Mm.
And so, you know, we did Analog Room for a couple of years before I left Dubai to, I wanted to pursue my master's in music technology because I really wanted to work on some synthesizer development at that time. And I came to America with 2 suitcases. I did a residency here, and I decided to stay. First, I tried to go to NYU, and it just seemed a little, you know, sometimes in life, you're just not sure and you're just shopping around. And then I ended up in Michigan, and I was sure I wanted to stay here, and the university was tempting too. So after 6 months of being in the States, I moved to Michigan. I tried to go to the University of Michigan. And while I was busy deciding, and I've started basically trying to live here, I have like a gig at some business, you know, very simple gigs, just selling and providing service in Gratiot, which is the Techno Boulevard in Detroit. So I was right below Transmat. And I wasn't, at that time, I was just doing this gig trying to see what's going on, and I didn't have a lot of money. So I would go to this restaurant who sold rice and beans. And funny enough, the rice and beans was too salty for me. I couldn't eat it solo. I needed yogurt. So this is all in the Eastern Market area in Detroit, Michigan. And basically, one day at this store that I'm trying to buy this yogurt, this gentleman who's the owner of the store comes to me and tells me, "Who are you? I've never seen you here." He's in his 70s, and he's been generation. His grandfather started this store. His father brought him to this store. So he was like, "You're a new face here, and what are you doing here?" And I told him that I'm here to pursue my musical dreams. I come the next week, and he says, "Do you know Luis Resto?" And I said, "I don't." He said, "You know, he works with Eminem." And at that time, I wasn't really interested in what Eminem was up to musically, but I was an engineer looking for a gig. He said, "Luis is looking for you." Luis told me to tell him and to come and see me. So next week, he gave me a time and a date, and I came with a CV. And I don't think he looked at my CV at all. He just said, do you play? Let's play together. And I started, I entered this studio, and it's just a dream land of music. It's a loft packed with instruments, recording gear, analog knobs, old. You see Neve, you see Moog, you see it all, you know, Fender Rhodes, anything you could ever want to try to do music production. Every VST you want heaven. In the real form. It's studio heaven.
Yeah.
So, you know, he tells me, let's play. And I didn't know much. I just had taken some classes the past year in Dubai because I was trying to learn keys. So I just knew one scale. We played around, and he saw me use the Moog, and he could tell that I knew the synthesizer. And he basically told me to come for a gig. He started hiring me, getting my information so I could give him a hand. And that became my main gig in Detroit to this day, which was the beginning into where I am today. I said all that just to say that through that, I have been becoming a DJ and a producer at this point, a full-time engineer, recording, mixing, and working on projects on many different levels and scopes, bands, you know, music production bigger than just what genre it is, just music.
Yes. I was going to ask you because Luis Resto, his career really sort of took a big turn in his 40s. And it looks like that, like looking at his history. And then you just see from like the early 2000s, late 90s, 2000s, this like boom, like everyone, like from all these hip hop artists just having this guy working in the studio on keys and production, and
Totally.
and it's just been like that for 20 something years now. And he's like, wait, in his 60s, right? He's in his 60s, this guy.
61.
Yeah. So, and I was going to say, like, I guess working with him now for you has kind of given you this, it's opened you up to, oh, what else is out there to how to create a career for this. It's not just this like one lane. There's so many like other things that I could be doing with this skill set. And is that
Absolutely.
Yeah. And what's that looking like for you now?
Well, you know, one thing that was really interesting about what happened with Luis is that in 2014, towards the at the end of 2014, I was having a bit of a there was almost this discomfort in my head as we were, you know, booking a lot of DJs, and I remember I had an argument with Mehdi one time outside Analog Room because I wasn't feeling what was going on. I wasn't feeling the music. I was just not feeling the scene for that moment. I had just come from Berlin. I was trying to go to Berlin to live, but there were so many parts of the scene that felt kind of empty behind. You know, there was a lot of drugs. There was a lot of non-exceptional talent being treated as royalty, and there was a lot of like, I don't know, can we cuss here?
You go ahead, man.
There was a lot of like fuckery going around, and I'm in love with the music, and it was just feeling weird. And that kind of put me in this mindset that, man, there are like musical legends and there's like amazing musical pieces made. And how is this done? You know, these recordings, these big bands, these like feelings that, you know, like good music doesn't wait for you to decide if it's good or bad. It slaps you in the face. So where's that magic? And I just knew that it's not in the ketamine circles, you know? And that's what the scene was about. At that time, I was checking out Berlin, and I don't think it's.
Were were you finding this discomfort from what you were witnessing in Berlin as well as Dubai? Like, because you were seeing.
Well, I went to Berlin. There was no drugs in Dubai, but when I went to Berlin, and I went to like a Legends party scene, like I went to Berghain. There was a specific party. Let's not drop names, but it was a specific party that was like, it's one of the crews in Berlin to do it.
Yes.
And then it had an after that Club de Visionnaire. And like, I'm 2 days in and I'm seeing all these like, yes, people who have devoted their life to music. No shade, but I just didn't want to be there. I just didn't want to be a 40, 50-year-old person high on drugs in this party with all these people around me.
You felt like more to this.
It just felt weird.
This can't just be it. Yeah, this can't just be it. Wow.
Yeah, it's just weird. You know, these conversations you guys are having is just like, it doesn't. I just needed more substance at that time because I was ready to, you know, from a very early age, I was always trying to do something really extraordinary with the music because of what I felt about it and what I thought I could do. But then there was a time where just I felt like there was a lot of the things I was looking up to suddenly looked not as substantial for me at that time anymore. And I was disheartened by that because it was something I had put all my life into. So ending up in Luis's environment was somehow everything I wanted because it took me to step one. You know, for 2 years I played in Luis's band, and one of the things I did was playing the shaker and the tambourine and all that. And you know, if you told this snobby me at the age of 19 that you play tambourine in a rock pop band, I might be like, that's impossible. But then, you know, it wasn't about what the music we played felt good for sure, but it was about what really the music is about. People responding to each other, people listening to each other, the elements of the musical piece working together, the commitment, every piece, the importance of every little thing that happens in the music, the necessity to be serious about it, the understanding of how a group of people can come together and what it takes for them to create together. And, obviously through that, then solo work and all that, but there was a lot of internal work. And Luis's environment provided that, because now I'm seeing people who are extremely good at musical things. And, I come from a scene that people move knobs and faders and put their hands in the air like they're Jesus. You know what I mean? Like, there's no shade. People do that thing. And it's like, if like when you see exceptional musical talent, you're like, okay, like, I would like to see what's up with that. And that it's very humbling, because when you see somebody who will tell you that what was the note of the lighter that fell out of your pocket, and somebody who, like, you just say a sentence and they play it in notes, and it's now you're looking at people connecting to music beyond persona, like
yeah.
Like, we're just copy pasting a bunch of music from the 80s, man. I'm not saying everybody's doing, but a lot of people are just doing that, and that's great. But there's also somebody coming home from a heart surgery, Just
it's really interesting, man. Like, you're, because you went and you did something very, like, I think what you did's been very brave and courageous. Like, you really stepped out and stepped out of your comfort zones and put yourself forward, and going to the States as an Iranian, like, it's like, man,
I'm still dealing with that very
I know. And you're 7 years deep now, like, you've been over there, and
yes,
and it seems like, the things that you've put yourself into have just are making you stronger. Like, it's making you more, not in a sense like you got to put yourself through hard shit to do that, but it seems like it's just been this all-encompassing, pieces of the puzzle that are just like bringing you into this, because you described this discomfort that you were aware of at such a young age, being able to witness these things that, and following your heart, like following your instinct and listening to that, going, no, there's something more to this music industry, like, that I need. And whether you really knew exactly what that was, you kind of went with it anyway. Like, that's what it sounds like to me. And that's, it's very courageous to do that,
I think that's really, it's like a curse and a blessing, but we're hard.
Yeah, exactly. But, like, even that story of, if you hadn't put yourself into, you didn't go, like, you look back and you're still young man, right? So, like, but if you look back at these parts here where you put yourself into Detroit and you went to this place for rice and beans, and if you hadn't gone to that place, you wouldn't have, you know what I mean? Like, you met, and from that you met this gentleman. But it's almost like, if you look back, it was almost like everything was leading you to meet Luis. You know what I'm saying? Like, totally. Yeah. It's like, because of that idea that you had back in Dubai, you followed that, and it was like a higher message or something or whatever. It's like, and aligned yourself, you manifested that kind of meeting of this man, you know, like, I don't know if you've ever kind of thought of it that way before, but that's kind of what triggered, that's what came into my, you know, head when
well,
you know,
it's funny
this.
because before I moved to America, I remember one day I was in the balcony in Dubai with my grandfather, and I was asking him, you know, I was trying to see what he could offer me with his wisdom about this life. And I told him if I should pursue the music thing a step further. And he said, he recited a poem for me in Farsi, but I'll say just what it means. What he said was, if you are one to hit the road, you should just hit the road. And you should hit the road with your head in the front. And the road will tell you the direction. Yeah. And he was basically telling me, like, if you're about it, don't question it. Just go full throttle. And it eventually really that happened, because one episode that happened in the past 7 years was I also worked with Derrick May for a year. Yeah. It was, you know, and again, at that moment, the first night that I had keys to the studio, and he had left for a gig, and I got myself a nice pizza and came to the studio, and I was smoking, and I was like, I can't fucking believe it, man. I'm in Transmat in the middle of winter in Detroit on Gratiot Avenue. I have a hot pizza and I am smoking amazingly. And this is what because, you know, when I was 16 years old, I would watch documentaries about Detroit legends in my bedroom in Tehran. And it was definitely a full, like, it was a chubby circle for me. Wow, man. Because you would never think. Also, you know, it's when you're working with artists and booking them and all that. One thing that changed for me when I moved here is that I never felt like I was on this side of the glass before I moved here. I was always on the other side. Even when we were booking people in Dubai, and it
felt untouchable almost. Yeah,
it was almost like we were on the other side, and there was all this untouchable, like you said. And then you come here. I came here and I started, you know, working on a local level. And it's funny, even though I haven't had a lot of international activity. I mean, I can't help it. I'm from somewhere else and I am somewhere else, so it'll become international. But I've been focused quite locally in comparison to my past. And then it helps you to see what it really is, not the image, you know. And it's honestly been great. The only thing that's made this a little hard and unpleasant, I'll say, is the immigration stuff. That's made my life a little hard, seriously. Otherwise, I'm beyond lucky to be walking the path I am, because it's like a dream path, honestly. You know, I've almost got into anything I ever dreamt of to some extent. There's more, but but it's incredible. And
yeah, I mean, I wonder if it would have been not that it's been easy, but to get into the country, like, because you got in there before Trump.
Yes, and Trump was what really delayed a lot of stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Because when Trump happened, then my lawyer was like, let's just hold on. Yeah. Let's see where this goes. And then after Trump, the COVID happened. And one thing about the immigration stuff is that, you know, the government is not gonna listen to your music or know what you've been up to. They need it presented to them in a certain way. And 2 years of not working was not good for that. You know, 2 years of not working means no flyers, no mentions, no links. You know, I still tried to do a lot more, but this odd combination of 5-6 years of weirdness definitely delayed me a lot. And
but does it help the studio work with Luis? Has that helped with this narrative for
a lot? You know, me and Luis put out a record together last year.
Wow.
Titled Ambient Series Volume 1. that actually won the Detroit Music Awards, and that was that was definitely something that helped. But I mean, it helped a lot because also me and Luis did like a school program together through another connection we had.
Right.
There's a school here up north of Michigan called Interlochen Center for the Arts. It's a high school for the arts, but it's a legendary spot. It's up in the woods, you know.
That's not the one that Wajid is involved in, is it? No, because he's opened up.
Wajid has opened up his own underground music academy, which is actually in Detroit.
Okay,
but Interlochen is up north in Michigan.
Okay,
and it's basically it's legendary. Its alumni is legendary. The people in the past who have done workshops there are Art Blakey is one of them, Duke Ellington, and it goes deep for theater, history, play, comparative arts and everything. But obviously, being in education and being recognized for doing educational work definitely helped me too. But again, there comes, especially right now, a time has come that I know exactly what I want to do, and it's been like this for like over a year. I would say that I really have been wanting to focus on making beats and performing and DJing, because I haven't had a focus on performance and DJing for the majority of the time I've been here. Whatever I had when I came was the leftovers of me DJing every weekend for, from the age of 16 till 24. And here, one thing that didn't happen was me partying every weekend, attending, getting in the promoter circle, and things that I did in Dubai because I was young and excited and had the energy. But here, resting became really important in my
and being more creative.
And also, like I told you, I have fallen out of love with an average party, and good parties are hard to come by, at least here in Detroit sometimes. And we could talk about that. I'm not saying there are no good parties here, but generally, an environment for me to enjoy myself isn't always present, and I take resting over that. So if you don't go to the parties and don't attend and all that, then also the competition here is insane. I've paid. I used to make more money DJing in Iran in 2007 that I do here right now. Yeah. And that's kind of crazy to me, at least. But the competition is crazy here. We have legends just hanging about when they are around. So, if a legend will play for some amounts, you're expected to pay for less or something about that, and that has its toll on performance, because I was throwing parties here in the beginning. So if I'm not throwing parties, then I'm out of the party circle pretty much.
Right. Yeah, because I guess you got to, in order to keep some sort of being seen or being involved with the community, you've got to be active on that front as well yourself. And are you clear? I mean, it sounds like you've become a lot more selective. There's you created sort of boundaries to suit what your needs are and what you want to be doing. Are you planning to stay in Detroit for long, or it's right now? Is it that's where you're just going to be until it's ready to leave, or do you have more?
The plan is once my traveling is sorted, the plan is to maintain a base here, but travel more often. I'm definitely gonna start traveling in Europe and the Suana region a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
And even here, I haven't been able to accept any offers for South or Central America. And I'm generally going to be traveling more, but I'm still maintaining a base here. I have projects that are still ongoing. I have a musical and non-musical family here that are important to me. And I am still working on different projects that are, music or music business. I've really been waiting to enter this phase where I don't have to worry about immigration.
Mm, yeah.
And I can just be a normal human being.
Mm.
And I can, it's been a while I've been trying to give some highlights to the young enthusiast beat maker and track digger inside me, because I'm trying to hit the clubs back again, and I'm trying to do it the way I like it to be done. So it really takes a lot of time just to listen to this music, just to be spending time with your samplers and drum machines and all that. And it takes stillness or some kind of focus, if not stillness. And I need that immigration stuff to be done with, so I could just be that for a little bit and maybe a year or two, put some fuel.
Is that far away? How long now do you feel?
We are also at the very final stages.
Oh, amazing. Because I know you haven't seen your family for many years now, your brother.
Yes, I haven't
parents.
seen a part of my family for 6 years.
But Mehdi's made trips over. Have you caught up?
Well, he comes to Canada and he sees my sister in Canada, but I can't even go to Canada.
Right.
Yeah.
Because his wife is from Canada too.
Yeah.
So he makes regular trips there, and that's right. So you were saying it's not far away now. Before that, so what sort of time frame are we looking at?
Just some. It's been funny. Every time it's about to be done, something new pops up. You
were saying that it's not far off now for the travel accessibility to be available. No doubt when that happens, it's going to and being able to tour and play gigs as well is going to be a big game changer for you. And it's something you've been waiting for a while now. Yeah,
totally. I can't wait, because it's really it's a lot easier to make music for clubs when you're in them. And I miss being a part of the club culture. And it's funny, after the little break I took from it, there's a whole new spirit out there. There's a whole new way of DJing out there. There's a whole new line of DJs out there. So it's very exciting. And I'm really looking forward to tapping into the new thing, but also bringing the experience and what I know as far as performance and all that. I've been working with bands, and I cannot wait to put these bands on the road.
Awesome,
I have solo. Yeah, thank you. And I have a solo live set that's going to be launched the second this stuff is sorted. And
I can't wait, man. Like I remember as before I was saying too, like the last time I saw you, we were at home at my place in Dubai, and we were, you were showing me some, creations, and you were making beats you literally just like made a house track in 3 minutes in front of me. I was just like, and I've always been honestly, you've always left an impression on me, and I found, and I was sad to see you leave Dubai, because we were just getting to meet, and but it's okay. I had the next best thing, your brother.
Hey, and then also, here we are again, reconnecting.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
I'm about to be able to travel.
Yeah.
And you're now based in Australia, right?
I moved back to Sydney a year ago and a bit now. I it was sad. It's sad to leave Dubai because of all the family and connections that I made there as well. But I'm still connected, and I plan to be going back to the region for work and projects. But it's been being back here has been great for reconnecting with family as well, and my roots here, and which has been super supportive during this period. I mean, I came back because my father was unwell, but we and got him back on his feet, and he's traveling the world right now while I'm here. So he's but I'm
back
happy,
on his feet for real.
Yeah, so it's good, man. He's traveling now, so
nice.
But yeah, we almost lost him, and so
Wow.
it was a bit of a rough period for a good 8-9 months. But we I got a lot of love for the community and the people. Even because I remember meeting you guys. We had started the dust parties, and
Right.
and then Analog Room came like about a year or a bit after that. And there was only a handful of us at the time that were DIY events,
Yes.
and now seeing a lot of them doing so well now, and Analog Room's back. Which is amazing. And it's just, it was a special time for me. I was able to bring what I learnt in my career earlier and bring that and help and contribute to the scene there. And now, the whole region is just booming right now. Like there's just, and it's there's stuff happening. Yeah. Like everywhere in the world, we're all redeveloping and rebuilding from COVID, but there's this whole new era. I think what's going to be really interesting in these next 10 years in the region, particularly, there's a lot of exciting things happening. So my intentions are to be there regularly as well. So going back and yeah, it's been
perfect. Yeah, I'm also excited to touch back and be present for some time every year.
Yeah, are you so when you say do you have an idea of when you'll be able to start traveling? And like a rough idea when?
Well, it was supposed to be before this year ends,
right?
And I'm still hoping that it will be before this year ends, but I just don't know if I will be able to leave before this year ends because 2 days ago, I accepted the first date that somebody was trying to reserve me in December. And a couple of months ago, I would have not even taken it. But now, because of the couple of delays that happened since April, I might still be here in December. But who knows? Maybe I'll be lucky enough to get there for my birthday.
And what city is that?
Where I'm at or where I'm trying to go?
Where that date is, in December.
Okay, no, that's a performance in Detroit with an artist named Salar Star. This is one of the people who is a huge part and a significant part of my musical family in Detroit. It's an artist who works with music, poetry, performance, and an actress, musician, whom I have been playing the role of when we perform live, anything electronic I do. And in the studio, I am the engineer as well. And sometimes in the sessions, I do production. And when there's room, the two main producers of the project, who are Salar Star and Ian Fink, they are quiet. Each one brings quite a lot to the project. So I can't say I'm really too much involved on the production, but they're always open to any suggestion I make. And if necessary, I will say it. So Asia, or Seleka Star is having a performance that I don't know how much I can talk about really in public, but she reached out to me the other day and asked me, there was a date in December. So the point is that I might still be here in December and perform with the band that I think it will be about 6 pieces. There'll be 3 vocals, keyboard player. There'll be me, and we usually have a saxophone or a flute player when we perform too.
Amazing. Well, look, it was absolutely great to catch up with you after all this time and
Likewise.
learn about your journey from Tehran to Detroit. Like that's a t-shirt, man. It's like, it's amazing.
Hey, it was so funny, when I sometimes here I would tell people, people who come to me were like, "Are you telling me you moved from Dubai to Detroit?" And I said, "Yes." And they're like, "Well, but why?" And I'm like, because I love the music. Honestly, for years, I didn't know what it is I love in the music. And when I moved here, I realized it's the Detroit groove.
Yeah.
It is significantly different. When you hear it in a track, it's that.
Yeah.
Because Detroit is a city that in 11 musical genres, it's the best in the world. We're talking gospel, we're talking jazz, we're talking hip hop, we're talking R&B, we're talking soul, we're talking funk, we're talking house, we're talking techno. We're talking rock, we're talking punk. It all comes from here. Like I remember when you are respected as a musician on any level here, even if you busk or if you have multiple Grammys, you are respected. People value what you do. People understand your struggle, and people know how to appreciate good music. Like when I said sometimes there isn't a good party in the way I like, finding good music in Detroit, it's very easy.
Yeah, no doubt.
But I like a party where the sound is also immaculate.
Yes.
Where the I think it's fair. As someone who throws parties themselves, I just have a way I like to enjoy dance music. And sometimes it's hard to find that. There's been more of it because, there's people in my generation and younger in Detroit, they're busy and they're working and but we don't have a lot of people to pack clubs with. And that generally changes the whole idea of how you can generate funds and make this a business and make it real and possible,
Yeah.
But I've been loving it. I've been loving living here, learning,
No, honestly, I think it was a great decision and a great move for you because not only to open up your musical palette, so to speak, but also for the learning to understand the culture and where it came from and immersing yourself in that. Like that's next level. And I think doing that is that's something that won't be able to be, like, you can't take that away from you now. You've
yeah, and I don't think where I could have learned this because I remember very clearly the day Mike Banks told me you cannot make black music for black people better than black people make music for black people. So stop trying to be what you're not and understand what you are, because that's what you are, is who you are.
Yes. Yeah,
and tap into that, and find your stand within the musical realm through that. And it was really an important moment for me that I don't know how, because not everybody would even tell you that. People will either just hate you for that, or will not even tell you and be cool with whatever. But it takes someone special to have the integrity, and B, to care for you, to tell you, especially in a way that's trying to help you find, because Mike knew that I'm trying to make music that hasn't been made before in a way.
Yeah.
Not, obviously music is always a repetition of a previous idea, but I wasn't trying to copy paste.
Yeah.
And the culture, again, with like house and techno and stuff, like we came up thinking this music is so drug oriented. And then I met someone like Derrick May, who's never taken a drug in his life. Then I met all these people who would literally go party, then go back home because they have a 9-to-5 job the next day. So the party scene has to be within like their life. It's not in this, I think what I'm trying to say is that it could be something a lot more in the, what you may say, ordinary lifestyle of people, like eating and, going for a run and all that. Something that happens in your daily day. Like you could just go hear the greatest house music till midnight or 2 and then come back and sleep and go. So all these little things were the culture.
Yeah, and it's respecting the art, it's respecting the music, respecting the culture, and that as being a priority, as opposed to just getting, we're not saying not to have fun, but like, it's not, it's not just, there is this form of escapism, which is amazing. Like that's why we love to dance and feel the music, but in a sense that it's done not in a way where it's just obsessively hedonistic and you lose yourself, in a way where you're completely like going down that rabbit hole of just completely losing touch with who you are and yourself.
Humanity always has to stay alive in the center. That's the thing, and humanity in a practical way, not in a love, peace, and unity. And right now everything is great, and let's not talk about anything that's not great. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think it's really important to be able to enjoy music outside this scene that we have, because sometimes, everybody lives the way they like, but sometimes it's good to enjoy what we enjoy, maybe in a more basic form, because it could be revealing of what we really enjoy. That's so. It's like when I played someone the "Been So Long Won't Do" remix, and they were like, "Oh, that's what's her name? Baby, who did Rapture of Love? Been So Long, Anita Baker." So you play that song for someone and they're like, "That's an Anita Baker song." And then you listen to the Anita Baker version and you get messed up. It messes you up because it's the mother to what you like.
Yeah.
You thought you like Snoop Dogg, then have you heard Parliament Funkadelic? So again, we go back into the culture, and then you understand what comes from, how it works.
I just thought of the time when I connected the dots with Digital Underground and Parliament Funkadelic, and I remember just being a 14-year-old, and I just blew my mind. I was just like, what is this? What's going on here?
How amazing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so valuable. And even like with hip hop music, I don't think I ever understood it before I moved here. It was just cool. It was cool and groovy. But then there's a lot more into it. You can't even understand what they say if you don't learn English outside the books. Like somebody like me learns English in books, and then you come, in Dubai you speak, but you don't learn what they say in the songs, And then here you get the culture you see around, and you're like, oh, that's what they meant in that song.
Yeah.
So it helps you to generally.
But I think that has a lot to do with the fact that you kind of changed your environment, it also, putting yourself in a different environment also activates other senses, like you start to, pay attention to things differently, you start to, and that, I think that has a lot to do with that, as well, and it's to me, it just sounds like you've been on this quest to understand this love that you've had, and you've been trying to like articulate it, and you've been putting that together. And in that process, you've also been shaping this new direction of what you want to be doing. It's I think it's a beautiful thing, man. And it's great to see that. I'm looking forward to seeing your name back on an Analog Room poster.
I can't wait.
Yeah, man. It's really good to hear that you're not that far away, and well done for sticking it out for all this period and going through what you have. And I've got Analog Room's been also part of my journey as well. I've been able to contribute and be part of that family and play a few times, and you guys worked a lot more together after I left. I did. Yeah. And I you know what, one of my regrets is not actually working more with your brother. He constantly kept throwing me like things, let's do this, and I was so invested in other ideas, and it's one of the things that I wish I did more, and hopefully we can do that again. It's not over. hopefully. We're just at the beginning of this decade. Exactly. We haven't even hit the middle of it. I know. And let's see. I'm really curious where the music is gonna go, because we are at this stage where it's so funny. I feel like now everybody's going, seeing what's happening in the past and coming here, doing that. It's not working, and then music is getting crazier. Yeah. And I cannot wait till we hear something and we say, what is that? Yeah. And I feel like it's going to happen. Yeah. I agree. I think there's a really interesting times ahead. For sure. Salar, it was so great to catch up and have this great discussion. Thank you for having me. Yeah, man. I'll keep in touch, and do keep me posted on what's happening with the immigration stuff, and looking forward to seeing you on tour again. Most definitely. Yeah. Hopefully all that stuff will be done soon. I am working on multiple releases right now, and they will all be submitted to the mastering before the end of this year. So from next year onwards, you could expect a lot more music to hit the surface. Great. Well, I look forward to I really can't wait to share that music. Yeah. Oh, I appreciate that. I really can't wait to share that, because I've made a lot of music. I just haven't had time to present it and produce it in a way to be presented to other people. It's just songs I've written, and they're in the vault, and it's worth at easily 5 years of either being in the studio or performing. And I've recorded a lot of performances that I've done, if not all of them. And there's a lot of material that I'm looking forward to release in the second phase. And like I said, in our text, I launched my record label during the once in 2020, and it hasn't had any physical releases yet. But that is changing in 2023, and I'm doing digital releases too, but I'm definitely doing a bunch of 12s, just strictly for the purpose of dance floor as well as time capsule. I need I need to let all this stuff go, because I have made myself a bet to not to make new music till this stuff is submitted, and it's a tough place to be in. Yeah. Well, I'm so looking for everything that I've heard of yours. I always just find super interesting, and it forward thinking, you know, like I always find like the things that I've heard of yours and stuff that I've already played on my radio show as well. I think, I think you've, it's going to be really interesting until like where you're fully releasing this stuff out and unleashing Salar Ansari.
Yes, cannot wait for there's a record I'm dropping next year that's all Persian music.
Wow. Amazing.
Yes, and that's one I really cannot wait to share with the world.
Can't wait. Well, Salar, thank you again. Thanks for coming on board.
Thanks for having me, and looking forward to seeing you in physical realm sometime soon.
Absolutely.
Take care.